about that. Let's talk about one of the articles that I thought was very, very interesting, dealing with the whole "we are the 99%." And can you kind of share that with people and what you thought about that?
Yeah, I thought that was a very good article. I think it pointed out the fact that using that phraseology really strengthens the movement, because if you try and divide and conquer, normally they would say the middle class against the poor, etc. It kind of makes it look like it's fragmented, but if you recognize that everybody under that 99% is in the same situation. They're struggling, or they're close to struggling, where they're losing houses through foreclosure, they're losing jobs, they're suffering, they're taking pay cuts. A lot of things are happening to the whole of that 99%, which, by the way, they mentioned is probably 99.9%, because while we're, being probably a little conservative, saying 1%, it's probably even less than that that's controlling the major portion of the wealth.
Well, someone said, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights, those being the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But the pursuit of happiness meaning what in this country? The pursuit of happiness, does it mean economic happiness, economic equality? And so I would ask you, Lori, when we look at these individuals, these people that are quote-unquote the 0.1% that's out there, shouldn't they get the big rewards if they're taking the big risks?
Well, are they taking the big risks? It's like the argument we had a few months ago where they're saying, well, you can't take these benefits away from corporations because they won't be able to create jobs. Are you creating jobs? So you can't have all the benefits under the guise that you need them in order to help the economy, and then you don't do anything to help the economy. And that's what the major issue is there. These corporations or individuals or whatever, people who are gaining from these capital gains, or don't want to have estate taxes changed. I mean, all of these things are for people who have money and are holding on to that money because they're not doing anything to help, or they appear to not be doing anything to help the economy.
Well, when you look at the Constitution, right, and you look at the Bill of Rights, it doesn't say anything about equity in there, okay? It doesn't say about equal pay, anything like in there. I mean, unless the Equal Rights Amendment you're talking about, or even I don't think you even see that until like the voting rights, where you see equality in that. So the Republicans are arguing the issue that because people are not gifted, this was very interesting, because people are not gifted the same, okay, and they don't have the same drive and the same determination and the same innovation, those people that have that are going to succeed. And that there has been a philosophy that those people that are at the top are those people that the aristocracy that has been gifted by God gifted by God to rule, to rule and to provide virtue and a good economy and stuff, and to direct it in the right way it should go.
Yeah, but the premise is also that I understand the point that they're trying to drive at, but the premise is that if you have someone who makes an invention, then they're going to contribute to the economy, and then the economy is going to benefit overall, and so that person is the gifted, so to speak. But if you have individuals, there are a lot of people in industries in that 1% or that 0.1% that are not doing that. They're in real estate, they're in, financial, they're CEOs who are part of failing businesses, but, as they leave, they go out the door with millions.
With a golden parachute.
Yeah, so, I mean, that situation doesn't really fly if you look at the examples, and I'm sure if someone really looked at the examples, they'd be able to prove it very easily.
But these are the talented people. These are the people that these are the job creators. These are the movers and shakers. Shouldn't they get paid for what they do?
Yeah, but part of the problem is, again, that mercenary mentality, because if you love your country so much, you would want to take an interest in making sure that the country is doing well. And a lot of that has to do with, I guess the so-called trickle-down theory, that, as you become more wealthy, you want to make sure that those people below you become more successful. Because even if you have a successful corporation or you're a CEO making a whole lot of money, your business is based on the economy. And if people can't afford to buy your product or patronize your business, then it kind of ruins the big picture. So you have to look at the big picture, even putting aside the moral issue that you should be looking out for your fellow man.
And when you're talking about France, you're talking about France, for example, in the French Revolution, and part of this whole Occupy Wall Street talks about the idea of equity, equality and stuff. When you look at such movements like that with France, and you look at such movements in other situations like in Cuba, or maybe even in China, some people might say that, and Republicans will say that that is a movement toward socialism or communism. And so, is this more about people making more money in their salary, or this is more about power?
Well, I mean, that's the question. How much is enough? I mean, how much do you need? I know with this recent story here in New York about the individuals who allegedly won the lottery,
Right.
where they're saying a considerable portion is going to go to charity. If you think about it, that makes perfect sense, because if you win 125 million, you're not going to spend it in your lifetime. And even if you gave, 25% of that to all your family members, you're still not going to spend a lot. So, I mean, if you think about it, your idea should be that, okay, let me give to those less fortunate, or let me help to kind of spur the economy in some way or the other. That idea should carry over to that 1% that's been, benefiting, not in a one lump sum lottery situation, but overall in the long term.
Yeah, the Republican philosophy, and this is really the philosophy of Pat Buchanan, who I'm really quoting some of these things. That his philosophy is saying that this is more about power and a power grab. This is more about people that feel that they're shut out, trying to exchange and bring in a new group of people to be the ones that dominate and have power. Well, isn't that how America was created? Isn't that the same thing that happened? You got tired of being dominated over in Europe, and you decided to come here, and then you wanted, because he said you wanted to create a system, and he says that capitalism will inherently always have inequalities because there are people that are more talented that always will rise to the top like cream.